Hello, and welcome back to Roslyn. If you're watching on YouTube, this will probably be episode 8, if I've counted correctly. Um, Today, I think we're just going to be focused on more expansion, trying to keep pace with our RCI meter, and, maybe developing our farm out a little bit more if we have industrial demand. But to get started, let's just do a quick survey of where we're at. So we have two main residential neighborhoods, Upper and Lower Roslyn, which are oriented diagonally along Factory Street running down the middle there to the yards and municipal services. Brown Street is our main way in from the highway there, you can see. And prominent features include Water Tower Park, as well as our downtown, which we just detailed out last episode. Really happy with how this turned out. And you can see it's seeing quite a bit. It's seen quite a bit of pedestrian activity. It's a little dead right now, but it'll level up eventually once we get some more people through here. And we could even boost that by throwing in a couple of extra gates on some of these path connections. So maybe we'll try that. In the meantime, I think it's obvious where our expansion is going to play out. But if we're going to develop these blocks out here, it'd be wise to think about how they'll be served by freeway connections. You can see there's already a little overpass right here in anticipation of what's to come. The question is, will that be enough? I think it's very likely that we could really use maybe a second, but I also want to be mindful of the fact that not only do we have some severe terrain challenges here in terms of this long downhill slope coming into the city, but there's also some rich mining right here. So we may want to see what this interchange can do for us and go from there. For now, I just want to pull this road out. First, we need to adjust how far we go down every time we do that. Very nice. And then I just want to take this down. That's as long a ramp as we can get. And since we have plenty of money, we'll just fill this road in here for now. And we'll see what comes of that. Obviously, we'll want some kind of major service road to run parallel to the highway here to feed this traffic into all kinds of different neighborhoods down here. For now, I think this is going to work great. Let's go ahead and check our terrain again. So, I think what makes the most sense would be to come maybe from right there and come down in a big sweeping motion towards that. So, let's see how that works. I think that's pretty nice, honestly. It's a little lumpy and bumpy right there. See if we can't figure that out. It's not very happy with me there. I think we'll have to come back to that. For now, I want to prioritize a couple of other things, but I think we can go ahead and hook this up. Question is, do we want to do a diamond or a clover leaf? I'm personally quite partial to clover leaves because I think they make the most sense with how traffic actually flows, right? So you'd come off of here and sweep in. And we want to do the same thing over here, right? And that's pretty messed up. Again, just want to try to get this angle right. I know this probably isn't the most exciting thing to watch, but I do think it's important to try to get this right. Okay, let's change the direction on that. Again, not the prettiest. But we'll call it good enough for right now. It's mostly just to reserve space for a flashier interchange later, I think. Okay, let's see here. How's our terrain look through here? Pretty good, a little lumpy and bumpy right there, so let's just smooth this out if we can. I think that looks pretty good. We'll have to figure out what we want to do with this slope. Is it something we're going to push back, create a cliff? Or maybe would it make more sense to build onto the cliff here? That's definitely an option for me, I think. To do some kind of nice terraced housing along here, with plenty of room for detailing, of course. For now, let's focus on building our blocks out a little bit. We're going to work with the dirt roads, just for the sake of ease. And I'm basically going to bring these over as far as they'll come here. While still staying true to that 90. Nice. Oh, interesting. Right, because this is Park Street. This is a special street here. May just need to back these off for a second. So we can make a nice clean connection there. Although maybe we want this to go all the way up to Park. I think that would make sense. Because these down here will predominantly be our residential streets. It's almost straight. I'm okay with that for now. So we'll just drag these across with our 7 deep block still. Ooh, this is a little jank right here. What's going on with that? Don't know. Maybe this is the one that's the problem here. There we go. Now we're getting it. Go ahead and pop this out for now. All right. And that would be Factory Street right there, if I'm not mistaken. Just make sure that is extended out. Great. We're going to go ahead and extend all of our street names out. There's Felicity. Here's Edith. Oops. Come with me now. Here is Dolores. And Clementine. Come on. There we go. Okay, which means this will be Bonnabelle. Which actually makes me think I have a much better M name than what we probably have there right now. And Annabelle. Okay, this will be Alfred. Now this being Blake does match with our conventions, but we've already dictated this is Park Street because it leads straight to Water Tower Park, way over there. Okay, let's see what else we got. So, obviously we'll want to think about where we want to split this block up, because this is going to be quite a large block on its own. The more I look at this, the more I think that maybe this road needs to be at a different angle. I think we'll leave it. This is gonna be a good throughway. You know, eventually if we expand over here and then there's an interchange somewhere right here, that could feed all of this in and out. So leave it as is for now. And we'll focus on our interesting. Be nice to have a halfway somehow. Let's just see how long this is. At its longest, 1940. So half of that would be, what, 820? That can't be right, can it? Doesn't look like half. It would be just under 1,000, I guess. Although maybe 1,000 is the way to go. Let's bump it back. Now, why is it messing up everything down through there, is the real question. And if I come from the other way, will it be different? Oh, this is just a mess now. What happened? You had such nice clean lines all through here. Classic perfect grids. And they're just gone. I think that more than anything may just be a testament to what happens when you come off in perfectly straight roads. I don't know what else to attribute it to, honestly. Because I think when we came down from the perfect parallel up here, it seemed fine. So I don't know what happened down there. Let's go ahead and try this again. See, that's not breaking our grid up at all. That's what we want to see. Okay. Throw a little fencing in here. Let's see, how much space do we want to give? The real question is how many lots are there going to be? Obviously we're going to want at least one, so those roads can expand. Okay, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 houses across. I'm okay with that. It is a long block, but, you know, I think made all the longer by the fencing, obviously. But I think that's okay. These will be pretty long blocks for what we've got so far, but not worried about it. Question will be, where are we going to fit in our other needs? Obviously we can put in plenty of industrial uses down here by the farm to augment industrial demand. Oh good, this is empty. Did we ever place our second cemetery somewhere? Yes, we did. On Gray Street, right? Yep, that's where. So, I think we can think about moving this over here somewhere now. Grace does not extend over here quite yet. But something off of Factory Street could make sense. Sort of a dead spot for farming. Otherwise, could do something like right here and have that road run right up to it. But that would complicate any future development up in this direction, potentially. So, we'll go there for now. And let's go ahead and throw some other utilities in here. We'll get some water under our roads, as this will all be urban development. So we wouldn't have any reason to avoid that. Now let's see, if I put this in here, that is not going to give me enough coverage, and that's fine. There we go. The other thing we could do through here would be to put them down the fence lines. You see that sometimes in like a suburban setting. But I don't think it's totally necessary. We'll want to think about a second post office eventually. I don't think we're there yet. The wave power plant, never use this thing. It's compact though, I like that. It's a lot less of an eyesore than the water windmills, that's for sure. Just go ahead and stake out a temporary power line there. And then let's upgrade some roads. I'm not going to upgrade these crossroads yet, as I think several of them may actually come out in the interest of breaking the grid up a little bit and having some more room to do some more parks or commercial zoning in there potentially. Here, I think, gosh, I think we can go ahead and make this a 4-laner. This as well might be well served as a 4-laner, as this will be a significant, potentially significant crossways. Is there any? Do I have the? No, I don't have these unlocked yet. I love these. That'll be our next milestone. So, in the meantime, I think we'll leave this 2-lane. For the sake of our budget, and we'll just try to remember to keep development backed off of that, except for maybe some commercial that we won't be too upset about redeveloping if the road is to widen eventually. Okay, it's looking pretty good to me. And we want the forestry fence here. Let's see. That is the magic spot right there. Oops. Messed up my spacing a little bit there. Okay, there's another block ready to go. Let's go ahead and check our import-export balance right now. So we're still exporting a ton of goods from our generic industry. We're exporting a ton of raw crops from agricultural, which is a good sign because that means there'll be plenty of opportunities to develop that farm, even with just a couple of fields in place. And as far as imports, the big one, of course, is mail. Which surprisingly our post office is not showing, which is fine. It must be a pretty trivial amount if we're being honest. Of course, it's also exporting quite a bit of mail, so it'll show up on the export tab as well. Okay. Do want to think about where we'll put some commercial development here. I think we may be well served with just a big block of it right here. So it'll have easy access to the highway. I'd also potentially have it on Park Street here, facing towards the houses. I think for now, just make sure we have our roads extended before we go deleting these. So that will make it simpler to continue them as we continue to develop out this direction. Yep. This got turned into Travis Lewis Street. Very different sounding name from Bonnabelle. Clementine is not Morgan. Dolores is not Holmes. Edith is not Sophie. And Felicity is not Graham. Okay. Let's go ahead and zone this in. And then let's see what's available to us here. So we can certainly put in a big 4 right there. Little corner shop. I think we may even be well served having some on Valleyview here, where we've got the room for it. And maybe we back off this last row of houses so that Grove Street could potentially be a commercial corridor as well. Yeah, I'm a fan of that. And we can also, I don't know what size park will fit in here. Could do a large playground. Obviously that will cut into some of the zoning we've already done. Plaza would work. Here we go. And why don't we go ahead and fill in around that a little bit. Ooh, that's rough. Here we go. Go ahead and historicize these to prevent them from leveling up into gigantic monstrosities in the middle of what is so far a very low-rise city. Great, I love this one. This is such a nice asset to me. Got a little bit of bumpy-wumpy right there. See if we can't figure out what's causing that. There we go. That should take care of that. Of course, this guy is over his lot. That's fine. We're going to leave that for now. Still a lot of commercial demand. So go ahead and plunk another corner store right here, and why not right here too? And one of those. And we'll go ahead and throw in a little pedestrian path right there. I want the lights on the other side though. Great. So this is now feeling like a little bit of a square. So we'll go ahead and mark it out as such, even though we likely won't develop it as a real park right away. And we'll call this Valleyview Square. Very nice. And that is, of course, because of the view of the valley there. Okay, seeing some more industrial demand now. This can go. I also think our bus depot might make more sense in this little triangle right here, if we can make it fit. Let's see how deep it is. It appears to be 6 deep. So very nice. I love that there. Much better location, I think. Why don't we go ahead and move these guys? Nice handy spot there on Roslyn Street. So that frees up a lot of development room down there still, which we definitely will want to take advantage of. Okay, we definitely have dealt with a lot of our residential demand. Let's go ahead and see what else we might be able to do with the farm here. So it looks like the big thing would be to install an animal pasture. Now, the tricky thing with these, as you can see, the noise pollution there is pretty substantial. And it would be great to put these in a spot that is not going to prevent us from developing more farmland in the future. So really, the ideal place would almost be right here, I think. Will mean taking out some existing stuff there. It's also just very close to all of Gray Street there. Maybe if we put it right here. Okay. Go ahead and turn that into an actual silo as well. Okay. See if we can't find our farm fencing. We'll just hook some of these things up. And what have we got here? Sheep. I'm fine with sheep. I almost wonder if I should move this over. Okay, I guess let's just delete it and try again. That's better, I think. Because what I want to be able to do is come through right here. Nice and easy like that. Oop. May even just set that up like that now. Yeah, I like that. And that'll give us a lot more room to add in some different kinds of situations there. Street names are going to be a little bit of a mess for now. That's fine. Go ahead and extend Janet. And Millicent, I wanted to rename Marceline Street. I hope you all can hear me. I just realized I may have muted my mic. Alright, for just a second I'm going to pause and check and see if my mic is on. So, seeing a lot of industrial demand again. Makes me wonder, what other... I have mining unlocked, which is interesting, given that we definitely would want to hit these mines over here, potentially. Of course, forestry is also unlocked, which could be very useful. And that might even be the way to go for now. Could very easily extend Factory Street out here. And I know I've talked a lot about in previous videos what I wanted to do with this area. And ultimately, I think it would still make sense eventually to potentially have some residential development up there. I mean, it would be beautiful, right? Along that mountain stream, incredible views. But I also want to be conscious of the fact that taking up all this flat land that already exists out here is going to consume quite a few squares. Especially if I want to try to get like that piece of the highway on a mountain that otherwise would be unusable. So this square is not going to be a high priority, which means for now I don't have any qualms with developing some timber industry here. That said, it would be great to look and just see what's flat here right now. The answer is unfortunately not much. Which is fine, ultimately. Okay, so go ahead and leave some room there. Great. I believe those will probably be 8. Let's see, where does the dark green really start? Right here. Okay. So we're just going to set up a little zone here to handle some of our we want to be able to turn raw lumber into something workable. Let's see, that would be, looks like 6 deep. So I want to go ahead and just put this in. Then we can do this. Lovely. Of course, all this is going to need water. Just a little stub there. And we'll just take that out to here for now. Not doing any more than we really need to with the water there. It's always tempting to want to just go ahead and lay out all of it, but it's not always really necessary, so and save ourselves some time that way. Okay, and then of course I want to turn this into a district. Yes, all the way down to there and through here. And we just want to get Brown Street back on Brown Street. And so this will be, I think we'll call it Victoria Forest? No. Why don't we call it Mountain spring forest. And that will be designated a timber zone so that we can do some basic industrial zoning through here to help flesh this out and meet industrial need as is necessary. And that did not completely tank our industrial demand, which I am a little surprised by. So I'm feeling okay about putting in a few more plantations. And I do just want to change the trees on these so that they match what's already out here. I think beech is the way to go there. Unless it's alder? What are these? I guess it's either. So why don't we do beech on this side, and we'll do alder on this side. And of course, we'll run some water out here. And there goes that industrial demand. Wonderful. Let's go ahead and check noise pollution. Because if we did want to put any residential in here, we'd of course have to be conscious of that. But my real temptation is to keep residential development happening over here. That said, we will want to check our city services, of course. See, our one elementary school is predictably overwhelmed. So, we'll want to think about where the second one's going to go, especially with all this development set to happen over here. And what's going to happen here. So I think Edith can go. I think Clementine and Bonneville can go. We'll keep Dolores. And let's look at our schools. So I think I am going to stick with the classic here. And then I always like to put a small playground right next to this. And then fence it in. And we'll go ahead and throw a little path down. There we go. And let's see how our high school capacity is. It's okay. Definitely will be maxed out soon. In fact, we may just want to bump our education budget a bit, since we're okay on cash, in the green, and that'll help increase the capacity of both of those, all three of those facilities. Okay, let's think about how we're going to run transit over here now. I did want to check bus line 4. Okay. So not well used, but it is saving a lot of car trips. Go ahead and bump that down. Summit Boulevard, still just not really what I'd like to see. And that may just be a factor of our low population more than anything else. Oop. Factory Street's got a stop that's backed up. So we'll go ahead and up the bus count there, because that is quite a long line. Okay. Let's go ahead and meet some residential demand now. Just making sure we're still lined up with the other block there. Wonderful. we'll just drop in another block of houses there. See what that does for our demand. And those houses are starting to come in already, even on 1 speed. That's good to see. Definitely want to still make a pedestrian connection there. Potentially long ways across here. And like so. This is obviously the most exciting part of the game, Ultimate Fencing Simulator. You know, must be terribly exciting to watch, but it is very important for the city's development pattern that we are thoughtful and consistent in how we approach this. Go ahead and make sure these are historic. Yes, they've already leveled up, so they were not, which I'm glad I came through here. You want to just add a path there. And we could throw a few trees back in there, I think. That might be nice. Bamboo trees, these are new, huh? Very nice. Ooh, that's a big one. Giant redwoods. Here's what I'm looking for. Chinese windmill palm. Very nice. And let's go ahead and check. That'll be unlocked at 6,500. So we've got a ways to go yet. Just trying to be careful here so we don't end up with a bunch of bookstores. Not that there's anything wrong with bookstores. I love bookstores in real life. I do get frustrated with when we end up with multiple identical. This is it right here. Obviously this one has a parking lot out front. I believe that's a 4x4 version. There is a 3x4 version, and there is of course the 2x4 version. And they're just awful, I think. My 2 cents, for what it's worth. Okay, I think we're doing alright. Unemployment's pretty low. There are a lot of jobs available. Should keep residential demand up. We are still... Oh, now we are exporting a ton of forestry, or importing a ton of forestry. And it's all going to those. That makes sense. When those first come in, it's not uncommon to see something like that. And obviously, we would rather those just be filled with what's in, what's already, what's coming out of here. But the industry system is a little. You kind of gotta take it as it comes. If we're honest. Can be a little tricky. And commercial demand is through the roof. Do just want to check, make sure we're still exporting tons of basic goods. Because when that balance flips over and you find yourself suddenly importing more than you're exporting, it is a real turning point in the game. Again, my opinion. Okay, we may continue to just do commercial through here. And then we can, of course, keep our pedestrian paths in the back. I like this because it makes sense, I think, from a service angle. You know, obviously there's a lot going on the backs of these stores, dumpsters and stuff. You'd want somewhere easy to access to get at that stuff. So I think it's nice to have. In addition to functionally being just a pedestrian cut through for now, which is fine. Here we go. So to meet our commercial demand, we can also continue to zone along Factory Street here as we had planned. Nice big commercial strip right there. Those will immediately start popping in, and we'll see what that does to our commercial demand. I'm going to take a sip of Diet Coke, and let's just watch this fill in. Alright, and we can see people were very eager for some commercial activity here. As our city continues to expand, it is good to keep an eye on traffic as well. We're at 90%, obviously a bit of a backup right here right now, where we just put in our forestry industry. That's to be expected. We'll go ahead and flip those back to stop signs, see if that helps. As you can see, I tend to prioritize the movement down the main roads here, using stoplights sparingly, sort of where it makes sense. Down here, we haven't done these yet. Automatically, these 4-lane roads will have stoplights at every intersection, unless I think you use the priority road designation. In which case it'll auto set up, I believe, like I have it here, where your main movement is going to be prioritized. For some intersections, like a 6-way, you may just want to throw the stoplight on, and there's nothing wrong with that. Something like outside of a school, absolutely, 4-way stop. Why not, right? We want safety to be the priority in a space like that. Especially with so much pedestrian potential here, right? Diagonal here is the main thing. This is another 6-way. We'll go ahead and throw a stoplight on that. And then go ahead and pull our stoplights off of this road, which is largely unoccupied at the moment. And where it dead ends at Park here, obviously we'll flip the sign. And just for now, we'll pop some stop signs out here, though obviously there's very little traffic out here at this point. So the other form of transit we have available to us right now is the tram. That might be something to consider. I am a big fan of the trams. I use them a lot in a lot of cities. For now, I think we might be ready to call it a day. Things are moving right along. Our commercial demand is still quite high. There are some options for what we can do about that. For now, I think we'll let it ride. So, we made some good progress today. This new neighborhood right here starting to come in, and obviously plenty of room for growth. In the meantime, the city's trucking right along. Let's just go ahead and check some vital statistics again. So, about 500 open jobs, unemployment at 6%. Happiness is quite high, especially for the industries. Our schools are sort of on the edge of their capacity, but this seems to be okay. We don't want people to rush through there anyway. Public library would be a really fun thing to consider here in the immediate future for sure. We're fine on death care, it looks like. Healthcare is okay. We do have a child care center right here. It's nice. And it would be good to, you know, potentially a senior center. The beach down here would be a great place for that, because this is going to be, I think, a major feature spot. So it's a good place to think about a senior center. Land value. You can see it's really starting to pop up here in downtown now, where we did all this detailing last episode, right around Factory Street, which is remarkable to me, as this is quite close to the yards, but it's a testament to the time we put in detailing there, as well as obviously the location of a fire station, a school, a medical center, a post office, and I believe there's the police station, all in a very immediate area. You can see the land value on those is actually a little lower, but it would be boosting the land value around here, I think, and that's why we're starting to see some green, which is a nice thing to see. Leisure. Obviously, we've got a big dead spot right here that could use some park activity, and of course we can see out here on the edge of the current development where it's hurting for some leisure activity as well. We've used this. Our exports are way back up again, way over our imports, which is what we like to see. We stopped importing here, it appears. We're still importing some forestry products in the yards. That's fine. They'll work it out. And we are exporting now. Raw lumber, sawmill. I think we'll go ahead and throw another sawmill in here while we still have some industrial demand, as that will be beneficial short-term and long-term in converting the raw forest materials into higher profit planed timber. And in fact, while I'm thinking about it as well, it's not a bad idea to think about storage for that. If we can just sneak this in here. Let's see if that'll work. Oh yeah. That's very nice. I mean, it's a little messy, I'll be honest. For now, it'll work. And it's not a bad idea to think about a warehouse through here eventually too, actually. You know. But for another day. In the meantime, Just check a couple more things. Traffic. Of course, that's going to be a hot spot. It's a six-way intersection. But nothing's backed up, and that's really what we want to see. It's just a lot of activity. A little bit of a backup here. Of course, you'll have that. You're going to see, yep. Let's go ahead and pause this so we can take a look at what this traffic is. An owner of the box factory. Returning to facility, obviously garbage truck. Yep. And then this is also a bus turnaround. And Frank's Fish Stick Factory is delivering goods to the general store. So it makes sense that we would see a ton of delivery vehicles right in this part of town. Using Factory Street, that's exactly what it's for, right? And that's just a factor of our layout going as planned. So it is also a good reminder that we may eventually think about widening Factory Street to really make it clear that this is the way through the city. Road maintenance, something to consider for our next episode, I think. Garbage, we are a little low, so we can check our budget on that. Go ahead and bump that up. And we'll come back to that in a second. Pollution, of course, it's all concentrated right there. Terrain, resources, we can see noise pollution. We are starting to see some around some of our commercial cores. We may just need to use some trees to keep that off of the residential areas here. Districts, the rest of this stuff is pretty boring. You can also check where the post office is serving. Interestingly enough, this all seems quite well served, and it's because this postal van is making its way over there right now. I wonder if we have custom post vans. No, it doesn't look like it. Do have the Vehicles of the World pack unlocked. Was hopeful maybe there would be something in there, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. And that's fine. So, I think we'll leave it there for today. Thanks for joining me. If you were here, thanks for watching on YouTube. If you're watching after the fact, I think the city's coming along. I think it's in a pretty good place. Love to hear your feedback, what you think, what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, what I'm being insufferable about. So feel free to sound off in the comments below. And until next time, thanks for coming to Roslyn.